It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, here on SABC3. Welcome, welcome. If you just tuned in, I know that you may have seen a lot of words pop up, and words like lockdown and video call, and those things have really been littering all over the place. But I think it's important to get some insight. And if we got 1 rand for every time we heard one of those words, like, I mean, Tabiso, you mentioned unprecedented not too long ago.
Well,
to Graham, which is actually one of the biggest things. Every email you get is like, "Hi, Carl, I hope you're well during these unprecedented times." It's happened a lot, eh?
It's become an excuse for service providers who are slacking as well. As you know, we're now existing in unprecedented times, which may cause delays in the delivery of your book.
It's become an excuse in a way, but you know, Oxford Languages annual Word of the Year analysis for 2020 has thus become words of an unprecedented. There it is again. Here.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I
love it.
Lead publisher of Dictionaries and Dictionary Data. This is of the Oxford University Press, Southern Africa. Dr. Phillip Louw, to learn more about the interesting insights that the increased or renewed usage of these words has to offer, which is wonderful. So, Dr. Phillip, welcome to Expresso. Goeiemorgen.
Hi guys, nice to be back on the show. Unprecedented, yes. Well, you've put me under some pressure now to explain what we mean with that, eh?
But Dr. Louw, in the past, how has the Oxford Word of the Year provided a reflection, I think, for all of us on the previous 12 months? And how did the events of 2020 influence exactly that?
Yeah, so usually when we look at a year in review, if I can put it that way, what we find is there's a front runner, one word that we can point to, that we can say, look, this word embodies the year, or this word had the most impact this year. What we found, and why we feel it was a really unprecedented year on the language front for us, is that in 2020, there wasn't just one word. There were a plethora of new words that just exploded into our collective lexicon, if I can put it that way. And really made a big impact on our lives. So, you know, a trend that we've seen in the past 5 years or so is, I remember coming onto your show and talking about when Oxford picked an emoji, you know, that little face with tears of laughter rolling down our cheeks as word of the year. I think it was around 2015. You know, and everyone was happy, and it was a fun time. And it's gotten progressively darker, and we started seeing words like youthquake and post-truth, toxic, and then last year, end of 2019, climate emergency, which became a really, really big talking point for us. You know, those were all really impactful words, but I haven't seen a year as dark as 2020 in terms of language.
Sure.
So, that's how 2020 compares to previous years, which were already pretty bad.
And that's the beautiful thing about words. Without even looking out your window, you know exactly what's going on in the world when you look at the usage of these words. And so I wanted to ask you, Doctor, what kind of insight do the words that increased in usage last year offer? And I think more importantly, how were these words monitored?
Yeah, so that's where I want to come back to your intro about the unprecedented. And of course, with unprecedented, we don't mean the removal of Donald Trump at the moment. We mean without precedent. It's not the case that we're saying the year itself is unprecedented. Of course, there've been years of tremendous upheaval. You know, we had pandemics before, like the Spanish flu. We had world wars. All of these events had huge impact on language and the way language has been used. But the big difference is that we are now able, through our software, through monitoring the internet with something we call a corpus, we're able to track in real time what the impact of a really big event like this is on the language that we use. So it's exactly through this corpus then that we were able to look at the year, we were able to identify some of the big events that happened through the year. Because, you know, let's not forget, 2020 would have been a big year even if it wasn't for the coronavirus. We had a continuation of the climate emergency with the bushfires. It feels a bit like Groundhog Day at the moment because at the beginning of last year, we also had an impeachment of a US president. Hopefully this time not an acquittal. And you know, after that, Auntie Rona showed up, and that was the really big plot twist. And a lot of the language became about that, about the coronavirus and about COVID-19. But then there's an amazing welling up of emotion and of almost natural protest against institutionalized racism happening in the wake of the George Floyd killing. And we had Black Lives Matter, and that also had a profound impact on our life last year. You know, so as you kind of go through a timeline of 2020, you realize it was an extraordinary year, not just, you know, for our daily lives, but for language as well and how it evolved through the year.
Well, Dr. Louw, it really has been a unique year for so many of us. I mean, many people will only ever experience something like this once in a lifetime. And to have you guys track all of these changes and how they influence the way that we speak and the culture and write and the things that the likes of Carl Wasty say on the radio is incredible. Thank you so much for the fantastic work you do.
Thanks very much.
So if you want to know more behind the words of the year for 2020, which was a year that actually made you say, oh my word, then make sure to stick around as Dr. Phillip Louw breaks them down for us a little later.